All right, guys, we have been learning about the open road, Route 66. So we learned about it the whole week, right? And we watched some videos, we learned some facts about it. Today we're gonna focus on chronology. So please, you should all already have out your Developing a Nation book and open to page 4. Open to page 4. Rodney, question?
I'm highlighting.
No? Okay. You're going to need to take out, some of you that came back from P a little early, you're going to need a notebook or a piece of paper for some notes. Go ahead and get that out.
Okay.
A writing pencil, pen, and you may need a highlighter because some of you were absent when we highlighted key events already. So we're going to go back and use these key events. All right, so the first thing you're going to do with your piece of paper is you are going to fold it in half, like a hot dog.
This is so hard to get. I can't even get my notebook.
You're going to fold it in half. Okay, make sure you're muted, please. Then you're going to write your name on the right side. You may be posting this on Padlet at the end of the day, so make it legible.
Do we write our name?
On the top right. Oh, like mine.
Like yours or not like yours?
Well, don't write my name, but just like I wrote mine. All right. Then we're going to put a title on it and label it the Open Road, Route 66.
Miss Jimenez,
Yes, Chris?
what are we doing?
Have our ELA. Look at the schedule, sweetie. We're on ELA. Take your book out on page 4 and take out some notes. We're going to be taking notes.
Okay.
All right, let's all stay muted, please, in 3, 2, 1. So we've been learning about key events and main idea. That was our focus earlier in the week. Today we're going to analyze the text structure and we're going to talk about chronology. So here we're going to put chronology. Go ahead and raise your hand in participants if you think you know what the word chronology means. Clarissa, what do you think the word chronology means?
I have zero idea, like nothing.
You just want to raise your hand.
No, I think I'm not 100% sure, but for some reason it just reminds me of history science.
All right, well, thank you. So today we're going to learn about chronology, and chronology is learning about events in the order they happen, events in the order they occur. So think back about the open road and the videos and the reading. We learned, was there a series of events that happened? There were. All right, so chronology is a sequence of events presented in a order. So that's what we're going to write.
Can we highlight?
You absolutely can. A sequence of events presented in an order. And I am also going to highlight chronology because that's our new term, right? We're down, we have key events down, we have main idea down, so now we're focusing on chronology. A sequence of events presented in an order. Go ahead and write that. And in parentheses, I'm going to break up the word. And chrono means, the word part of chrono means time. So I'll put this in parentheses.
In what language?
Chrono means
like a timeline,
time.
huh? Like a timeline.
Okay, so we're getting closer.
What things happen? Like right here, it says on the open road 1908 Model Ts are mass produced, and it has the time and what happened.
Right. So we're gonna So
year.
we have a timeline down here. We're gonna focus on that a little later. Right now, we're just gonna focus on the sequence of events, and that timeline will help us. So go ahead and take these notes, and then I'm gonna make a chart on the bottom. Those of you that are caught up with me, and then I'll give you a time to tell you when we are done. So I had you fold your paper in half because we need 2 columns. One side is going to be labeled events and the other side is going to be labeled details.
it okay if I drew a line down the middle
Absolutely.
where the fold was?
I'm about to do that too. All right, I'll give you about 15 seconds to do this. Because I know a lot of you are with me. This is what you see on my paper is all you're going to need right now. So events are things that happen, and we're talking about chronology, so sequence of events. So our events, we're going to go in order of how they happen. Once we're going to go back as a class and we're going to read paragraphs 1 through 3, and then we are going to write details. And most of us already highlighted important events, key events in the text, so some of you are going to have it highlighted. Violet, this is all directions. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to go back and read paragraphs 1 through 3, and while I'm reading, you're going to be either highlighting or underlining any events that took place. So you guys already saw the timeline on the bottom. We're going to talk about some key events. Most of us have them. So if we're talking about a sequence of events in an order that happen, what are some key terms we can look at? What are some words we're going to look for? Maybe some dates. Can we look for dates? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yes, Violet. You're going to fold it in half just to make it a little easier. All right. So who can raise their hand in participants and tell me, when we do our ELA read aloud, what do you do when I stop reading? Go ahead and raise your hand in participants. Let me switch the mouse, guys. You guys. So no one knows. Oh, yeah, we do. Here we go. Chris, what do you do when I stop reading? What are you supposed to do? What's the student's job? Read that word. Very good. And I should hear everyone. And then remember, if you have background noise, you can stay muted. So we're going to get started. So direction again. I'm going to read 1 through 3. If I stop, you read. And you are underlining or highlighting any key events. Should we have most of our key events already highlighted from earlier in the week? Absolutely. Yes. But if we come across one, you go for it. Here we go. We're going to stop after each paragraph to discuss it. So you're going to push these notes to the side because we will be coming back and forth to them. And you all should have your books open to page 4, the open road. 1. The first automobiles appeared in the 1890s, powered by an electric instead of horses that were called horseless
carriages.
At that time, there were only 144 miles of paved
road
in the nation. When people went for a drive, cars bounced along dirt.
track. Yes.
Dust blew into their eyes and mud splattered their
Clothes.
Very good. All right. I already have one of my events highlighted. Can someone raise their hand and tell me in paragraph 1, what was one of the first events they talked about? What was one of the first events? Rodney, what is one of the first events they talked about?
The first automobile appeared in the 1890s.
Very good. So we have that highlighted, but I'm going to underline it because that's what we're going to write. On events, under events, we're going to write that. Okay, please stay muted, guys. I hear background noise right now. So for now, while we're writing, let's go ahead and mute. Thank you. So that's our first event from the open road. First automobiles appeared in the 1890s. So I'm going to write in the 1990s. Just going to flip it to give me that date first, right? Because we're talking about sequence of events. In the Jonathan.
It's Ryan. I think
Okay, I'm going to mute everyone.
glitching.
I think so. We'll find out. Okay, you're all muted. You're good now. In the 1890s, comma, the first autos appeared. And you can write the whole word automobile if you would like. All right, so we have our first event. Go ahead and write that. Give you about 30 seconds. So as you're writing, I'm going to reread our first event. In the 1980s, the first autos appeared. Okay, so we know the first automobiles appeared. Now we need some details about them. So they appeared. So what happened with them appearing? What are some details? Now that we have the first automobiles, what are some details that followed in that paragraph about that happened? What are some details that happened? So anything from paragraph 1, is there any detail there from paragraph 1? Let's see. Clarissa, what is one detail that supports our event? So in 1890s, the first autos appeared. So what is a detail that happened because of these autos appearing? Or what do we know prior to that? So I'll reread paragraph 1 and then our detail is in the 1890s, the first autos appeared. So what do we need to know that was happening then?
They were powered by an electric motor instead of horses.
Okay, so that's one detail about them. So they appeared, so are they using horses a little less now? Because people are purchasing cars, right? Very good.
Or horses.
Okay, so what about the roads? Are the roads anything important we need to know?
There was only 100 miles of paved roads, and there were dirt tracks. They would have to go on dirt tracks.
All right, so can we write there were very few paved roads back then? Is that a detail that's important?
Yes.
All right, so that's what we're going to write. There were very few paved roads. Go ahead and write that. Give you about 10 more seconds.
Miss Jimenez,
Yes, Clarissa.
I have colored pens, so I'm using different ones for each event and detail.
Perfect.
And each of them are going to be blue and green.
Nice. All right, we're going to move on to paragraph 2. Paragraph 2. So who can raise their hand and tell me, what are we looking for? What's a keyword we're looking for events? What's one big thing we look for? If we're talking about chronology, sequence of events, what is one thing we're going to be looking for?
The dates.
The dates. Very good. So we're going to be looking for dates. So if a date pops up, we know that's something we need to add, right? Because we're talking about order of event sequence. Okay. Paragraph 2. I'm going to move these notes to the side. I haven't drawn a line here yet, just in case we get more details. Paragraph 2. Here we go. Not only were there few paved roads in those days, but there were no gas
Stations.
Okay, we're going to read it over. I should hear more students. I should hear all of you unless there's some noise. Not only were there few paved roads in those days, but there were no gas stations or
Maps.
The new motor cars broke down often. For this reason, people did not go
Far.
The first cars were also extremely
Expensive.
Few people could
Afford.
them. So, there was little reason for the country to build
Interstate.
highways. For many horse-drawn carriages or trains were still the best way to travel. So go ahead and take about 15 seconds and underline first, were there any key events? Hold on. Were there any key events here? Any dates? But were there maybe more details about the first cars? Were there more details about the first cars? Go ahead and underline them. You have about 15 seconds, and then I'll call in a few students to tell me. Were there more added details that referred to the first cars that appeared in 1890? Okay, 10 seconds.
Yes, Hernandez.
Yes, Chris.
I need to find my charger.
Okay, go ahead, sweetie. Go ahead and mute yourself and go find it, okay? All right, here we go. So, Rodney, were there more key details about the first cards we can add?
That it was expensive.
They were expensive, thank you. What else? Something following on with that. So we know the first cars were expensive. What else do we know? Violet, what's another detail about the first cars?
They broke down.
They broke down often. Very good. All right, so we're going to add that right here under the first one still. So cars were expensive and broke down often. Okay, I'll give you about 40 seconds to write that. All right, moving on to paragraph 2. Paragraph 2. I'm sorry, 3. We're on 3. Then in 1908, remember, you're underlining, highlighting key events. Many of us have them, but we're looking for details to connect them. Then in 1908, Henry Ford introduced the Model T.
Ford. Automobile.
Okay, starting over. I should hear my whole class. Then in 1908, Henry Ford introduced the Model T.
Automobile.
Unlike those before it, this car was
Affordable.
because it didn't cost much. Many people bought it. As more people owned,
Cars.
the need for paved roads, gas stations, and new increased. As a result, the Model T helped change.
Transportation.
All right, I'm going to call in a student to tell me, we come across an event here. Did we come across an event? Maya, did we come across an event here, Maya? Roman, did we come across an event here, Roman? Cameron, did we come across an event here?
Yes.
What was the event we came across in paragraph 3?
Henry Ford made a affordable automobile, and
So
it helped change transportation.
was there a very important date there that we could add?
1908.
Okay, so what exactly happened in 1908?
Henry Ford introduced the Model T automobile.
Perfect, thank you. And you went ahead and gave us some details that are gonna follow our event. So I'm gonna go, we have this highlighted because we had said it was a key event. So let's go ahead and underline, this is gonna be our event. So overall in 1908, Henry Ford introduced the Model T automobile. Okay, so now I'm gonna go get my paper. We're moving on to our second event. So now I can draw a line here. Thank you, Cameron. So in 1908, Henry Ford introduced the Model T. What is the Model T?
A new car.
Thank you.
Car.
The Model T automobile or auto. Very good. About 15 seconds. If you finish, start looking, rereading that paragraph and find details that have to do with Henry Ford introducing this new model. Did anything change from the first automobile with our details? Did anything change? Very good, yeah. Very good. Those texting in the chat. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on. Area, what is a detail that happened because of Henry Ford introducing the Model T auto?
Unlike the cars before, this was actually affordable.
Very good. They were affordable. So if they're affordable, are more people buying them?
Yes.
Very good. So they were affordable. So many could buy them. So many people could buy them. All right, did anything change? What else changed because of these automobiles? What's another detail that changed? Chris?
Model T helped change transportation.
It did. So because it helped change transportation, what else happened? What was having to be done?
To make 2-lane roads.
So they made 2-lane roads. Did they need more roads? Did they need them to be paved?
Yeah.
So what were the roads like before they were paved, Chris?
They were just like dusty.
Dusty. They were dirt, right? They were dirt roads, so they were dusty. And imagine all these cars driving on the dust or driving on the dirt. All the dust flies up. So they need them paved. And was paved one of our vocabulary terms we said? All right. So let's think back real quick. So some of us go to the fair every year, not this year. They have dirt roads in the parking lot, and most of them, when they're driving, do you see all the dirt fly up? Or even when you're walking in the fair, all that dirt. But they needed paved roads. So, what does paved mean? This was one of our terms all week. What does the word paved mean? Let me see. Call on a student. Violet, what does the word paved mean? Do you remember?
Yes. It means concrete on the street.
Okay, so they had to make actual roads, right? With asphalt or concrete, get rid of these dirt roads because we had so many cars. Very good, guys. All right, so Chris told us they needed more paved roads. So they needed more paved roads now that there were more cars there were more automobiles. Very good. Very, very good. All right. Now we're going to move on to paragraph 4, but you guys are going to move on to paragraph, well, we're going to read it together, and then I'm going to have a student tell me exactly what the key event was there, and then what details support it, okay? So here we go. I'm going to call on someone to go ahead and read paragraph 4 for us. Oops. Anudful. Anudful. Okay, you're going to read paragraph 4. So what is the class doing while you read paragraph 4? What are they looking out for?
They're looking for key details.
Key details? Okay, and what, since we're learning about chronology, sequence of events, what is one thing they're really looking for? So sequence of events, things that happen in order. Look at the events you already have. What do you see in both of them?
Key details.
Okay, we have key events supported by details, but for our events, do we have dates?
Yes.
So they should be looking for dates, correct?
Yes.
And then followed with key details. Very good. All right, go ahead and read paragraph 4. Anudful.
People with cars wanted to go places. They wanted to hit the open road and explore America. However, to do so, they needed better roads. So in 1916, Congress passed the Federal Aid Road Act. It made funds available to help states build 2-lane interstate highways. Workers would build the new roads, creating new jobs.
Very good. So, Anudful, what is one very important key event there? Remember, some of us might already have it highlighted. So when we're talking about chronology, sequence of events, chrono means time. So is there a time that was...
The only two I can find is the ones that are already highlighted.
Yeah, so one of them's already highlighted. We already did this, and you guys didn't even know you're going to use it again. So we didn't realize how important those key events were, right? So what is one that has time in there? What's one of the details we highlighted with time?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
What is one of the details we highlighted with time in paragraph 4?
1916, Congress passed the Federal Aid Road Act.
Correct. So is that our next event in our sequence of events we're listing?
Yes.
So we have it highlighted because we knew that was important. I'm just going to underline it because we know that is what we are writing. All right. So we're on to our third event. Thank you, Anudful. So in 1916, Congress passed the Federal Aid Road Act. All right, go ahead and take about 45 seconds to write that, and then when you finish it, you're looking for key details that support this. Key details that support it, and then what maybe something that has changed over time over the last details from 1890 and 1908. So why did Congress support this? What's some detail? Why? Go ahead and put your hand up when you are done. Raise your hand on Zoom when you're all done and caught up, so I know if we can move on. Right, remember when you finish writing your event, you're looking for details. Why did Congress finally pass the Federal Aid Road Act? What has changed? Why is it being passed? What are people wanting? All right, go ahead and put your hands down if you're all done, and I'm going to call on a student to give me some details. Christopher. So if our event says in 1960 Congress passed the Federal Aid Road Act, what is the detail? Why did they finally pass this?
States built 2-lane interstate highways.
Right, so that's what this aid is, but why did they do that? Why did they do that?
Wanted to go to places.
They
wanted to hit the open road and explore America.
So people wanted to drive, right? They wanted to drive farther and explore America now that they have these affordable vehicles. Very good job, Christopher. All right, so here.
However, they did so need better roads.
Very good. Okay, so we're going to cap it at people wanted to drive farther, right? They wanted to drive farther and explore America now that they could afford these cars. So they need better roads. Here we go. So that is our detail. People wanted to drive farther and explore America. Give you about 1 minute to make sure you have all of this caught up, because after that you guys are going to have an independent assignment. I'll give it till 10:47. Go ahead, Aria. Thank you.
Minutes.
Yes, Clarissa.
My things are kind of different. I don't think Roxanne did, but I did differently.
Okay, well, at the end when we're completed, did you just word it a little differently?
Huh?
Did you just word your events or details a little differently? Oh,
yeah.
No, that's fine. You're fine. And you labeled them. You're good. No worries. You got that. You're fine. Thank you. You just organized your notes a little differently. All right, about 15 seconds, and then I'm going to give you your assignment. All right, it is 10:47. So now you guys are going to have 5 minutes to read paragraph 5 and paragraph 6, where you're going to find a key event. See if there's any in 5. If there is, then you have to support it with what, guys? Details. And then you're going to go to 6. See if there's any key events here. And if there are, what are you going to support it with? Details. Is there a chance that one of these might not have key events?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So you guys have until 10:55. 10:55. When you finish that, if you go into Google Classroom, you're going to see a chronology chart. You're going to go back and type our order. And then at 10:55, we're going to come back and you're going to help me finish filling this out. You're going to help me finish filling it out. So first thing, you're going to finish it by reading 5 and 6. You're going to find key events and details. Second, when you have it all done, you're going to go to Google Classroom and fill out your chart. Questions before we do that? Raise your hand in participants if you have questions. No questions? Anutful question?
So all we're technically doing is finding details and events in paragraph 5 and 6.
So first you're finding key events because you need the event first, the date, right? And 5 and 6, yep.
Yes.
And then whatever that event you find, if there is any, you are going to find key details to support it, just like we did.
I'm still kind of writing.
You're fine. Yeah, some of you are still writing. I'm going to leave this sharing. Leave it sharing so you guys can write. That's why I stopped and gave directions, because some are ready to move on, some are not. So when you finish this, 5 and 6, key events and details, and then what do you go to after you have it all handwritten? Anutful. You're going to go and type it where?
On Google Classroom.
Google Classroom. All right, so you have till 10:55 to get at least the written part. If you finish, then you go to Google Classroom. So 10:55, we're all muted, and then we will come back together in 5 minutes, guys.